Wow. Well, let's review a little bit. So, in one of our prior episodes, we talked about shamanic cosmology and the cosmic tree of life. This is central to shamanic teachings, and the tree is found. The stories of the tree of life is as a worldwide story. There's something that we all connect to spiritually when it comes to the tree of life. So it's not just the shamanic teachings that talk about it, but the Christian faith, the Nordic faith, a lot of the pagan traditions. It's just all over the world. And I think even the Hindu, Jewish mysticism, it's just everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Everywhere. So when we work with our shamanic work, we always journey into the lower world of this tree of life. And the tree of life represents the lower, the middle, and the upper. The lower being the roots of the tree, the parts that go into the ground or into the world of Sophia Gaia. The trunk of the tree is the middle world. And then the upper tree are the branches that stretch out and are kissed by the sun's rays, is what they will say. So when we journey the lower world, this is the part of the tree where we explore the subconscious, where we connect with our inner child and our inner wounding and trauma, where we reclaim those parts of ourselves that we may have pushed away because of trauma, or we may have pushed away because we were told that's what we need to do. So the journeys that you experience in the lower world are extremely healing, empowering, and life-changing. And it's not a scary place. You know, a lot of people, they're like, oh, the lower world, that sounds so scary.
That was my first thought when I started with you. You're
Yes.
like, we're going to explore the lower world. And I was like it made me nervous. I started getting anxiety
Yes.
because you think of that being something dark and dreaded, but also it is the subconscious and it's a lot of childhood. You know, there's a section in which we go and we work with our inner child. We do soul retrievals. We do so many amazing things that are in such a deep way that's so changing. So I almost think it's fitting that it's like the lower world can be like this hesitation, only because sometimes it's vulnerable for even us to want to go into that space within. But it isn't bad or wrong. Going back into our previous podcast, we talked about we're more than this physical journey, and us feeling bad and wrong and sinful and heavy is very much so this physical context. And so when we can remember, okay, my spirit is so much more, this is an opportunity for learning. It doesn't have to define me or make me bad and wrong. That's when the whole lower world opens up into this beautiful space of creation versus this heavy blockage of energy.
Yes. And you remember, like, when we were exploring this, we spend the first couple of months really exploring the middle world and getting to know yourself as a multidimensional being, and meeting your animal allies and your spirit guides, and really knowing who is supporting you on the other side of the veil, getting comfortable with that, getting comfortable with journeying into different dimensions of reality, which again reaffirms and reminds you of your magnificence, the fact that you're not just a physical body, and that you're not just your emotions or the things that have happened to you, all those things. I think it's really important to get strong there first, you know, before we really dive into the lower world, because like you were saying, a lot of people are intimidated by that. They're like, gosh, that sounds so scary and overwhelming. I don't know if I want to do a shadow work or inner child work or do a soul retrieval. It just sounds so intense and so awful.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get prepared and you come back into remembrance of who you are first, when you start exploring who is there for you on the other side, and you recognize how loved you are and how supported you are from spirit, that again helps you relax. And then when you actually do go into the lower world, it's so different from that. It's not a place at all that's scary. In fact, we should talk about our personal experiences. Like, what
Yeah.
did you see? And this is, I think this is important because it actually is quite the opposite, right, Jen? It's actually a very magical, beautiful place.